Hey everybody! Hey, I got a Christmas story to tell you. Listen up. For the night afore Christmas in our house over yonder, all the young uns was tired, too tired to wander. Our socks we had nailed up by the wood stove, of course. It was late Friday night, the night Ma does the wash. The young uns was piled in a heap on the floor, and Buford, my coon dog, was blocking the door. Ma had made us a Christmas Eve meal that was awesome, a rib sticking stew made of turnips and possum. I was trying to sleep and ignore Buford's snores when outside the cabin there came a great noise. I ran to the window and opened the shutter and tripped on Buford, and I started to mutter, but a light caught my eye, and the racket did too, and so I looked in the yard and I focused my view. Well, the moon was a bright one. I saw it quite clear. The ruckus was caused by a herd of small deer. Well, without even thinking, I grabbed up my gun. Our Christmas Day meal could include venison. It was then that I saw him, man with a sled, a strange hunting cap pulled over his head. He was dressed all in red, and I don't know the reason, 'cause you know you wear orange during deer hunting season. This guy must have wandered out tracking the deer. He'd come up for a piece, 'cause we lived nowhere near. After looking him over, my heart filled with pity. Must be some fancy guy from some great big city. That fool dressed in red must know nothing about game. He was stomping and hollering and calling out names. He must have been mad 'cause he'd followed so poorly, 'cause the way he was cussing hurt my ears quite sorely. Now, dash off, you dancer, and prance off, you vixen. I'll vomit on you, stupid, and yonder I got blitzing. But those deer, instead of turning and running to hide, just let him call names, and they stood side by side. And that city boy jumped in his fiery red sled and mumbled and grumbled and twisted his head. And then, and I'll swear, I'm telling you the truth, that man got them deer to jump up on my roof. So he's not wearing orange. He don't have a gun. He's cursing at deer that don't even run. Guy must be some kind of peculiar, yelling at deer and dressed in red fur. Now I know what you all is probably thinking. Who is this feller? And what is he drinking? But let me tell you the rest. I must and I will, and that do not involve any shine from my still. So I soon heard some rustling and shaking about, and I looked at the stove, and these two boots popped out. He came out of the stove without making no noise, and slung on his back was a pack filled with toys. I ain't never seen no one like him in my life. He was really, really small, about half the size of my wife. Smoking a pipe, smelled like Sir Walter Raleigh. Then he opened a sock and he stuffed in a dolly. What was happening began to start making some sense. Thank goodness I'm smart and not very dense. This guy ain't no hunter. He's not after meat. Just look at those clothes and the boots on his feet. About then, Buford woke up, started a growling, which woke up the baby, and she started howling. That city boy must be Santa. Old St. Nick, and if he had much sense, he'd get out of there quick, 'cause Buford don't ever take kindly to strangers, and there wasn't no time to warn Claus of the dangers. But Santa stayed calm. He didn't get flustered and filled up those socks with the courage he'd mustered. Then old Santa, he left just as quick as he came, and once again whistling and calling out names. I ran to the window to see the man fly with 8 tiny deer through the snowy night sky, and he hollered at me, as he flew through the night. Y'all have a merry one. See ya. Good night.